I'm going to show you the chart and we're going to look at the darker side of this Aquarius new moon. Time is running out for the special. I'm literally doing a special only for those of you who get in my inbox by the end of day on Monday. Okay. $150. Okay. 1 hour reading, and this is before my rates go up. So I'm super excited to offer it for those of you who need a reading, want a reading. If you're in the market for a reading, I love supporting people to become their highest selves through something as insightful and simple as an astrology reading. Groovy. If you want to take advantage of that service, you can reach out to me at my Gmail specifically. Greetings, Earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to WizdomDropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. My name is TONIA Lasagna, back with another video helping you layer together all the celestial sauce and nodal noodles together into something digestible. So today we're talking about the Aquarius new moon and specifically things that I think you should be aware of. In a more serious note today, I don't believe in hype or anything like that, but somebody close to me recently experienced in their close circle a death of a family member, and it just really called me to look at the astrology and pay attention to where we might find this right now. And whenever it's our time is inevitably what it comes down to. But at the same time, we can do what we can. So in the spirit of astrology, I just wanted to do a video for y'all today talking about this reality of this new moon in Aquarius. Saturn doesn't play. So we're going to talk about that dark side of the moon, baby. Before I jump in, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already and like this video. It really helps the channel grow, and I appreciate all of you who do so much. So, jumping on into this Aquarius new moon, let's look at the chart and seeing the darker side of the moon, because this is like a real deal thing. So first things first, you see what I already talked about in my previous video. The new moon itself is conjunct Saturn. That's the first kind of warning, right? In astrology world, that's the first kind of warning that we see when we look at a moon and it's within a 3-degree aspect to a malefic. And in this case, this is Saturn. In another case, it could have been Mars. And in yet another case, which it is, it could have been Uranus, okay? Or Pluto. Okay, we see signatures of all of this in the chart. So these are the 4 so-called malefic or bad guy planets. Okay, everybody. And if you're new to this concept, the idea is that malefic planets can bring you really hard-earned things that are, deserved, perhaps, in the case of Saturn, but through a sort of unpleasant experience, okay? And at the same time that they can bring you really great things, perhaps without a lot of work, and as is the case with Uranus, it can just bring you this sort of windfall energy, right? At the same time, it can also bring sudden severances and really kind of final, complete, like all of a sudden it's done, like out of nowhere. So we have to entertain both vibrations of any given malefic especially. And in the case of this new moon, you see Saturn at 15 degrees, 3 degrees away from, okay, this moon. And you see at the same time, everybody, that's right, you have the moon and the sun squaring Uranus, the other bad guy planet that I just mentioned. I named 4 though, we're not over yet. So 2 quote unquote bad guy planets are in a tense, you see that red line? Square aspect, okay? Square aspects bring manifesting energy in the actual 3rd dimension. Hence the case of somebody close to me who had somebody pass, okay? Now let's look and see what the other bad guy planets are doing though, because I named 4 and so far we see 2 of the bad guys, not 4. So let's look and see what Pluto's doing here. Pluto, of course, also means death, alongside Saturn, alongside Mars. Pluto death is, all death is death, as death is. However, Plutonic associations of death tend to be a little more vulgar. They involve, more expressive and heart-wrenching, painful, deep, dark, tumultuous shadow aspects, really in a sort of ornate, maniacal detail almost. Hence the association of Pluto as such an evil bastard in astrology, throughout the lore of it. Pluto has this sort of manipulative thing, but the reason that a manipulative sort of death is so effective is that the devil is in the details, as the adage goes. So you see this Plutonic representation of Hades or Lucifer in some incarnation, right, of that energy, which we know the true Lucifer in astrology is actually Saturn. If you haven't seen my Leo Aquarius video, be sure to check that out. I talk a lot about that axis in depth. But the idea of Pluto, you might see blood, and if it's not blood, it's going to be internal psychological shifts that are coming from a place of true authentic realness that you weren't previously willing to even like expose yourself to, and Mercury's there right now, okay, the thoughts, and retrograde, making us think even more deeply, okay, about this stuff. And so day-to-day actions, or in the case cars, in this instance, this was a car accident in the person in my life, right, with their person or their being that they lost. And so the idea is this Mercury being vehicular and a classical indicator of vehicles, Pluto being a classic indicator of tragedy. Be very careful right now, okay? Even with this sextile to Neptune, Neptune is another malicious, potentially quote unquote bad guy planet. And really, any planet has a high and low vibration, but Neptune can rule substances, specifically alcohol, that are associated with escapism. And it can also rule deception and illusion and foggy mindedness. So somebody driving under the influence of alcohol, for example, and death by vehicle happening as a result. So just be really aware of that is a potential at this time. So at this time, we've implicated successfully 3 out of 4 of the bad guy planets. We're going to find the last signature of the absolutely notorious 4 planets. Neptune is kind of questionable. You could totally count it as a 5th. I'm not really going to stress much on it here other than what I just said. But we need to move on to Mars. So we're going to. And if you haven't liked this video yet, you should. Thank you very much. For those of you who do, it helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it in exchange for all this free knowledge I'm giving you. So, the other thing here is that the Mars just entered Capricorn, y'all. If you didn't see this recently, you haven't been checking the weather, you didn't know your dates, you're not up on that. This just happened, okay? This is really fresh, all right? Mars literally just entered Capricorn. So if you want to think about that as well, Mars is empowered in Capricorn. Mars is strengthened and elevated in Capricorn simply because it's an earth sign and it's cardinal. And Mars likes the cardinality of things. Mars is the get it done, let's get it done, sort of energy. So you put that in earth sign Capricorn, you're going to have a productive Mars. Now, sounds great, right? Until you look at Mars as an omen of death and severance and cutting and blood again. And so you see that and you go and you say, wait a minute. The host of this new moon is Saturn because it's in the sign of Aquarius, right? And then you say, wait a minute. The sign that rules Capricorn, where Mars just entered, is also Saturn. Okay, so you have this planetary twofold. There's this Saturn rules both these signs, where all this energy that you can see in the skies. We got all these planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Geez Louise, if that ain't a Saturn, sort of concentration, what is? What is? So I really want y'all to be aware of the Saturnine undertones. And this is, of course, an astrological reminder for those of you who are learning from me and, choose to pursue your studies further. You want to make sure you read the dispositor of any given planet. And that's the planet that rules the sign that any outer planet happens to be transiting in. Saturn always rules Capricorn, you understand? So therefore, to gain more information about what is the condition of this planet, this planet, this planet, you read Saturn. And that's a good astrology nugget. So thank you for the likes and support for that good astrology zhuzh. And please do be careful around this energy. This is a quick energy. At the time this perfects on the East Coast, at least from that geography, Uranus is almost perfectly in opposition to the ascendant point in Scorpio. And that just really adds a more volatility, especially on the East Coast. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, we're seeing some blizzard activity right now, I think. Some winter storms right on the East Coast. From that vantage point on, you know, very late night Monday, early morning Tuesday, you know, creator forbid, we could see an intensification of those storms, okay? And a lot of destruction that comes from it because Scorpio is on the ascendant. And this is again in a T-square configuration, okay? So you see that big red triangle. So yeah, it's not a time to freak out. It's just, as I said in my last video, some older people might warn you, it's not a time to do anything stupid, kid. I would maybe rephrase that because we need to be empathetic with ourselves and we need to be aware that like we're literally trying the best we can at any given moment. So I guess like my parting words of wisdom on this whole like notion of watch out for all the crazy stuff that could happen right now with this, you know, new moon, new beginning. I guess like in addition to just working on keeping a commitment to quality, because Saturn honors quality, okay, you can also work on committing yourself to a certain degree of not only quality and standard, but rest and reflection, because Saturn also rules rest. And if you're somebody who's going through a lot of deep emotional processing right now, that's okay. It's an alignment. Saturn is going to call you to kind of turn offline, so to speak. So that's cool. Or maybe you're really called to go introspective more and into yourself more. That's cool too. Whatever it is, really honor what you're being called to do at an intuitive level. And if by any chance you're thinking of doing anything extreme and silly, that you're going to have some really long-term, you know, karmic things that you have to pay back, so to speak, debts over it, don't do that under this influence of this new moon. If you're feeling really emotionally lost and in a tumultuous place, do yourself a favor and wait one full week before you make any snappy decisions, you understand? Because this energy is very intense and there's just a lot of real deal kind of rawness and I want to call it vulgarity, you know, that goes along with it. So just take care of yourselves, y'all, energetically, emotionally, and honor thy Saturn within. If you want to get a reading and you're looking for more kind of insights, I'm offering the $150 special if you book before end of day February 1st. Okay, that's by end of day Monday. So make sure you reach out at WizdomDropz@gmail.com, all Z's, that's down below if you want to check it for details. Thank you again for all the support. And if you made it to the end of this video, leave me a purple heart and or a groovy little halo being in honor of loved ones who have made it to the spirit world and no longer hold physical form. Thank you so much. And with that said, through next time, until next time, may the stars be with you. Peace.